Read the text on page 21 and fill in the missing words. The rise and fall of the musical. One of the first very popular musicals was called The Broadway Melody. Seeing how successful it was, many studios wanted to make musicals, and in the year 1930 there were over 100 musicals made, or about 2 musicals every week. The method of pre-recording the soundtrack and having the actors lip-sync was the idea of Douglas Shearer, who was nominated for 21 Oscars and won 7 over his long career. Shearer's idea was very popular, and many people copied this style. However, because so many musicals were made in the year 1930, paired with a stock market crash and the rising popularity of the radio, it meant musicals soon became less popular. In 1931, just 14 musicals were made. Amazing sequences. Thanks to a man called Busby Berkeley, musicals were soon popular again. On a Warner Brothers film called 42nd Street, Berkeley directed the dance sequences, which used many background dancers and singers. He moved the camera through a very complicated dance sequence, making the scene very exciting. This helped make the musical genre more profitable again, and soon many studios were making expensive musical films. Catchy songs. Arthur Freed was an associate producer on The Wizard of Oz, and the studio, MGM, saw how much potential he had. So he was soon a producer on some of the biggest musicals ever made. This helped make MGM the studio most associated with the musical genre. He convinced many famous performers from Broadway theaters to star in Hollywood films. He was very important in making people like Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra famous. Besides being an influential producer, Freed also wrote great songs. Singing in the Rain is maybe the most famous musical ever made, and he wrote the lyrics for many of the songs, including Good Morning and the titular song Singing in the Rain. From Broadway to blue suede shoes. With musicals being so popular for so long, Hollywood started to adapt theatre productions and books. Films like West Side Story, My Fair Lady, and The Sound of Music were not original ideas, but all were very popular. One example of someone making musicals that weren't based on theatre or books are the films starring the singer Elvis Presley, who starred in movies like Viva Las Vegas and Jailhouse Rock. Other musicals starring modern stars include Frank Sinatra starring alongside Marlon Brando and Gene Simmons in Guys and Dolls. A film called High Society included such famous musical stars as Grace Kelly, Louis Armstrong, Bing Crosby, and Frank Sinatra.